This isn't the place for diversity quotas. The words cut through the air like a blade, slicing the polished calm of the 42nd floor boardroom. A latte spilled across the walnut table, its brown trail glinting under the glass wall light. Oliver Grant, head of investments at Regency Capital, didn't even look up. He simply pushed a folder toward the woman across from him. Selena Adeyemi, 25, sat straight in her light gray blazer, the cheap fabric contrasting sharply with the tailored suits around her. Her old suitcase rested by her foot. Eyes followed her curious, condescending. Chloe Bramwell, the blonde intern, quietly set her phone to record. Comments started pouring in on the company's private feed, drama at London's top finance firm. Oliver smirked. Before we begin, maybe you should wipe this mess. We value cleanliness here. He slid the tissue box toward Selena. Chloe typed a caption, Diversity Hire Episode 2 Coffee and Cleanup. Selena didn't move. Her hands stayed still on her knees, her eyes calm. The smell of coffee mixed with perfume and leather. Every detail, the words, faces, tone, she stored neatly in her mind like evidence. Her phone buzzed softly inside her worn bag. Aurora Holdings meeting file ready 6 p.m. She turned it off, lips curving faintly. Oliver stood, arms crossed. This is the real world of investment. No space for emotions or charity hires. His eyes locked on hers. You're lucky to be here. Laughter rippled through the room. Chloe leaned closer to record. Selena opened a brown notebook and wrote in small, tidy letters, 8:35 a.m., discriminatory remark. Witnesses 6. Every stroke calm and deliberate. Oliver kept lecturing about true investor vision, repeating the word class, as if to remind Selena where she stood in the hierarchy. An hour later, he skimmed the assignment list. Chloe mergers, Arjun restructuring, and you... He paused theatrically. Selena coffee runs, photocopies filing. Administrative work probably your strength. The last words stung with mockery. Laughter rang out again, sharp as broken glass. Chloe whispered, "Poor thing," but kept her camera rolling. Comments multiplied. Black intern humiliated on her first day. Selena rose, gathering her notebook and suitcase. Every motion was calm, controlled. At the door, Oliver added, "Your name sounds like a fallen queen. Let's hope history doesn't repeat itself." She turned slightly, voice smooth as silk. "Selena means moonlight, what shines when the sun goes out. You might remember not everything quiet is weak." Silence. Chloe's hand trembled, lowering her phone. Oliver froze, smirk fading. A strange unease settled in the room like something powerful had just awakened. When the door closed, the sound was crisp and final. In the bright hallway, Selena paused. The glass wall reflected two versions of her, one, the quiet intern, the other, something far more dangerous, waiting. Inside, nervous laughter died away. On Chloe's phone, the last comment scrolled up, "Never underestimate the quiet ones. They're the ones who make the system go silent." Selena stepped into the elevator, pressed floor 40. As the doors slid shut, her reflection stared back. No trace of humiliation, only calm precision. She wasn't the intern they thought she was. She was the one holding the power to end the game. Beatrice Lim, the silver-haired executive assistant, didn't look up when Selena approached the secretary's desk. "The coffee list is on the board. Follow it exactly. We don't tolerate mistakes here," she said dryly, her eyes fixed on the computer screen. On the whiteboard, 14 lines of slanted handwriting listed every drink: espresso, caramel, macchiato, flat white cappuccino. Oliver's order was circled in red: Flat white, no sugar, precisely 60 degrees. At the bottom, a handwritten note read, "Don't spill it." Selena glanced at the board and gave a small nod. No sigh, no reaction. Only a flicker of cold sharpness in her dark eyes before it vanished. She slipped the receipts into her bag and left the 42nd floor, heading to the cafe in the lobby. The air there felt like another world, filled with the smell of pastries, soft laughter, and warm light streaming through glass. While the barista prepared the order, Selena's phone vibrated. The screen lit up Aurora Holdings' legal report ready. Meeting at 6 p.m. Confirm data security protocol. She scanned the cafe, then tapped read and cleared the notification. Everything had to remain as it was. No sign, no hint, no slip. When the tray of coffees was ready, she thanked the barista softly and returned upstairs, the scent of freshly brewed coffee following her. Each step felt like crossing between two worlds, one where she played the powerless intern, the other where her real authority waited hidden and patient. Back on the 42nd floor, no one acknowledged her. The conference room door was slightly ajar. Inside, Oliver was speaking with two men in dark suits, his tone dripping with disdain. "I'm not against diversity," he said, "as long as it doesn't become a burden. Talent must come with the right background." All three men laughed, raising their cups. Selena set the tray on the side table, her movements steady. As Oliver reached for his cup, she caught a glimpse of his laptop screen. A string of emails was open, the subject line, "Clear diversity problem, lowering recruitment standards." Attached files sat neatly inside a folder titled Internal HR Issues. In a single second, she memorized everything: subject, sender date, her photographic memory recording every detail like a silent scanner. "Why are you still standing there?" Oliver's voice broke the moment. "Set it down and leave. I have real work to do." Selena inclined her head slightly. "Yes, sir." As she turned away, he watched her with a mix of irritation and curiosity. Something about her didn't fit the picture of a typical intern, but he brushed the thought aside. The 42nd floor was cold and quiet. The photocopy room at the end of the hallway had no windows, only the hum of the printer and the smell of fresh ink. Selena sorted documents carefully, page by page, her precision almost mechanical. Footsteps echoed behind her. It was Yusuf Okoro, the head of janitorial services, pushing his cleaning cart. "You doing all right, miss?" His voice was rough but kind. "Most new people don't last a week here." Selena looked up, surprised by the warmth in his tone. "I'm fine, thank you." "Be patient," he said, leaning on his broom. "They see people through skin and titles, not merit. But time shows who really stands steady." Selena smiled faintly. "I'm not planning to quit." Yusuf nodded and walked away, leaving behind the faint scent of cleaning fluid and a rare sense of comfort. The door opened again. Chloe appeared, holding her phone at chest height, still recording. "Wow, you're still here. I thought you'd quit already. People on my channel are betting how long you'll last." Selena didn't answer, continuing to stack the papers. Actually, Chloe went on. "They say you should find something more realistic. Maybe admin support somewhere. Finance might be a little out of reach, don't you think?" Selena paused briefly. "Is that so?" Her tone was calm, unreadable. "Thanks for the advice." Yusuf had returned down the hallway. "She's doing better than the rest of your interns," he called out. "If you got nothing useful to say, leave her be." Chloe shot him a glare, huffed, and turned away. "I'm just documenting reality," she said as the door slammed behind her. The room fell silent again. Selena placed the stack of files on the table, her eyes falling on the header internal HR issues on the copies she had just made. The papers, plain and harmless, held traces of a much deeper web of discrimination. Her heartbeat remained steady, not from fear, but from certainty. A new notification lit up her phone. Board meeting moved to 6:00 sharp. Conference room floor 50. Ready. Would you like a private elevator? Selena. She typed back. No need. I'm still in character. Keep schedule as planned. Under the pale green fluorescent light, her reflection shimmered in the printer's glass, half in light, half in shadow. To everyone else, she was just an intern being looked down on, but in her eyes gleamed the quiet determination of someone about to rewrite the rules that governed the entire building. At noon, the 42nd floor was unusually quiet. The clicking of keyboards echoed like the dry pulse of an invisible machine powered by pressure and ambition. Selena sat in the far corner of the break room, her cold sandwich untouched. She opened her notebook, writing a few new lines, witness list, time remarks. Each page added to the silent report she was building. Across the room, interns surrounded Oliver, laughing about stocks class and cultural fit. Every word reached Selena clearly. I don't know what HR's thinking, Oliver said loudly. This is London's top finance firm, not a life coaching center. They keep forcing diversity standards, and we end up training people who don't belong here. Laughter followed. Sarah Lim, a brown-haired manager, nodded. Exactly. Diversity quotas have become orders, not choices. This is business, not charity. Oliver's eyes flicked toward Selena. People like that only know how to play the victim. Give them a chance, they turn it into entitlement. Selena looked up briefly, calm but cold inside. She wrote 12:45 p.m. public discriminatory remarks. Witnesses Oliver Grant, Sarah Lim, 3 interns. No reaction. Maintain role. Her hand trembled slightly, not from anger, but from icy disgust. She had heard such words countless times, but hearing them from her target made it different. The system was exposing itself. Her phone vibrated. A message flashed: board meeting at 6, confirmed documents. Absolute confidentiality. She replied, received. Observation ongoing. At another table, Chloe's phone kept recording, hidden between a bottle and a lunchbox. The stream's at 2,000 views, she whispered. Everyone loves watching a boss humiliate a black intern. Comments scrolled. She should quit, poor girl. How does this still happen in the UK? Selena ate slowly, mind sorting each detail, time, behavior, motive. A full map of discrimination was forming. Suddenly, a man's voice came from the doorway. Doesn't she look familiar? That woman from the Africa Finance Summit. Marcus O'Rourke, the floor's security guard, stared at Selena. I know that face. His co-worker laughed. Coincidence. Marcus frowned, but said nothing. When Selena stood to throw away her lunch, she met Marcus's eyes. He recognized something, but wasn't sure what. She smiled politely and walked out. The long corridor hummed with the sound of air vents brushing her sleeve. The photocopy room waited, filled with the smell of ink. On the desk lay new HR documents titled Internal Culture Review Diversity Staff. At the bottom, the signature read, Lead Oliver Grant. Selena's lips curved faintly. The door opened. Chloe stepped in, phone raised. They're live streaming the intern skills test. The boss wants you in the main room. Selena closed her notebook, glanced at her reflection, neat hair, calm face, eyes glowing with resolve. Thank you, she said. Chloe backed away, whispering into her phone. The fun part's starting. Finance test for interns. Let's see how long she lasts. The elevator opened on the 43rd floor. A glass conference room gleamed ahead walls, reflecting the Regency Capital logo on a massive screen. 20 people sat waiting, the air buzzing with tension. Oliver stood at the head of the table, arms crossed, wearing a cold smile. "Let's see what surprises diversity brings today," he said. Selena entered quietly. Some faces looked amused, others pitying. Overhead, a security camera blinked, once light flashing in her eyes like a reminder that every second was being recorded. She inhaled slowly. Every insult, every look, every word, each was now evidence. Only hours remained. When this performance ended, the truth would surface. Outside, the London sky stretched gray and heavy. Far below, the River Thames flowed steadily silent and patient, like a witness to the storm rising at the city's highest floors. The glass conference room on the 43rd floor gleamed brightly, reflecting dozens of eager faces. At the center stood Oliver Grant, laser pointer in hand, like a conductor leading an orchestra. His voice carried confidently across the room. "Today, to help you better understand practical investing, I'd like to test your basic knowledge. A little fun exercise to see who truly has a financial mind." His smile was sharp as a blade. The interns exchanged nervous glances, half anxious, half excited. Chloe sat at the back, her phone hidden under a stack of papers, camera rolling. The live stream already had over 3,000 viewers. "Classic humiliation incoming," she whispered, eyes sparkling with anticipation. Oliver's gaze swept across the room before landing on Selena. "Miss Adeyemi, perhaps we'll start with you. Tell me, what is ROI?" he asked, each word dripping with mockery. Selena stood tall, resting her hand lightly on the edge of the table. Her voice was calm and clear. "Return on investment. The ratio of profit to investment cost, representing a project's profitability. The formula is net profit, divided by total investment." The room stirred with a quiet ripple of surprise. A few eyes widened. Oliver raised an eyebrow, his smile tightening. "Impressive, memorized well. Then what's EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization? A measure of profit before interest, tax, and depreciation costs. It reflects the company's core operating performance." Her tone didn't waver, steady and confident. The atmosphere shifted. One intern let out a low whistle, quickly silenced when Oliver's eyes flicked toward him. Oliver continued, forcing his composure. "And market capitalization. The total market value of outstanding shares calculated as share price multiplied by the number of shares." This time, silence. Even Chloe looked up from her phone. On her screen, comments poured in. She actually knows her stuff. Here comes the plot twist. Oliver's grip tightened on the laser pointer. He changed tactics. "All right. Something harder. Analyze this cash flow report. Numbers filled the screen: operations, investments, financing. Tell me what you see here." Selena stepped forward, studying the chart for 30 seconds. The room held its breath. Then her voice rang evenly. "Operating cash flow is £47.3 million, showing strong core performance. However, financial cash flow is negative $12.8 million, indicating significant debt repayment. Investment cash flow dropped by $8.2 million, possibly signaling cost cuts or delayed expansion. If this trend continues, growth will stagnate." Each word landed like a hammer. At the far end of the table, 3 analysts exchanged glances and nodded. One scribbled in his notebook, "advanced analysis level." Oliver swallowed hard, forcing a smirk. "You're good at memorizing. But investment isn't about reciting definitions. It takes instinct foundation, what people call breeding." The word dropped like a stone. The air froze. Chloe looked up. A few employees shifted uncomfortably. Someone whispered, "Did he just say that?" On Chloe's phone, comments exploded. "Did he seriously say breeding? That's racist? Save this video." Selena didn't move. She smiled slightly, a smile that made Oliver uneasy. "You're right," she said softly. "Some things can't be learned from books. Like respect." Oliver froze. A few people coughed to hide their laughter. Chloe zoomed in, capturing his face, the flicker of anger mixed with fear. "This session is over," Oliver said tightly. "Get back to work. I have business with HR." He gathered his laptop and hurried out. As the door closed, the room erupted with whispers. One male intern leaned toward Selena. "You were incredible." "I didn't think he'd expose himself that fast." Selena only nodded slightly, her eyes fixed on the door. In her mind, the pieces were connecting words, behavior, emails, and now recorded proof. She knew that single word breeding would be the final nail in Oliver's career. She left the room, stepping into the deep blue carpeted hallway. The golden lights above stretched her shadow long and still. Below London lay beneath the evening mist, the Thames winding like a ribbon of silver. In that quiet, Selena felt her heartbeat steady and sure, the rhythm of someone who had begun to turn the entire game upside down. She didn't need anger to fight back. All she needed was truth, and truth was revealing itself through the mouths of those who believed they were untouchable. 6 more hours, just 6, and this performance would end with a verdict no one could appeal. 3:15 p.m. The air on the 42nd floor felt heavy. Avoidant glances, frantic, typing whispers, spreading like smoke. The test this morning was recorded. Oliver lost control, HR's watching the clip. Behind a closed door, Oliver Grant's voice was tight as wire. "We need to deal with that girl before this gets worse." Across the table sat Sarah Lim, regional HR head, and Michael Reeve, deputy risk manager. "What exactly do you mean?" Sarah asked quietly. "We can't fire an intern for a test." "Not fire," Oliver said, eyes sharp. "Disciplinary action for breaching data security. I saw her near my files, even touching my laptop. We'll call it unauthorized access." Michael frowned. "That's serious." "Exactly," Oliver snapped. "I'll draft the report for HR today. If she denies it, we'll use the CCTV from the copy room and claim she tried to copy documents." Sarah hesitated. "But if the video from the test leaks, the company will investigate." "Don't worry," Oliver said coldly. "I know how to make things disappear." Outside, Selena passed quietly, a file tray in hand. The door stood ajar enough for her to hear every word. Each phrase fell into place in her mind, like pieces of a puzzle she had predicted. Security breach. Unauthorized access. CCTV. She memorized them all. Her phone buzzed a text from an unknown number. "Miss Adeyemi, this is Marcus from security. We need to talk. Meet me in the tech room on floor 40 in 5 minutes." Selena glanced around, then slipped into the stairwell, descending 2 floors swiftly. The tech room glowed with green light from security screens. Marcus O'Rourke, the dark-skinned guard in uniform, waited with a cup of tea. "I know who you are," he said quietly. 3 months ago, you came with Aurora Holdings asking about our camera system." Selena didn't answer. Marcus continued. "I watched the clip from this morning. That intern's live stream hit 8,000 views the moment Grant said breeding is everywhere. But he just called HR accusing you of a data breach. They're preparing disciplinary action." Selena nodded calmly. "Thank you," I need your help. With what I need all camera footage from today, every angle on the 42nd and 43rd floors. Conference room, copy room, HR hall. Marcus hesitated. That's hours of footage, I know, she said firmly. But truth needs witnesses. She flashed a silver Aurora badge under the light, then tucked it away. Upload it to folder code A7N. I'll handle the rest. Marcus studied her, half respect, half awe. What are you doing cleaning up? She said simply. At 4:15, Selena returned to the office. Chaos ruled. HR gathered in a closed-door meeting. Chloe stood outside, pale. Oliver told me to hand over the video, she whispered. He said, if I don't delete it, I'm done. I don't know what to do. Selena paused. Keep it. And if anyone asks, tell the truth. But, no buts. Her voice was calm but firm. The truth is your only shield. Chloe looked at her, then turned off her live stream for the first time that day. Upstairs, Oliver typed furiously. The email subject read, Security Breach Report, Selena Adeyemi. The first line glowed on screen, Intern caught accessing internal files, potential data leak. He smiled. Just then, the door burst open. Sarah ran in, breathless. Oliver, it's worse than we thought. The hashtag Regency bullying is trending. Someone confirmed she worked for Aurora Holdings. The smile vanished. That's impossible. Downstairs, Selena stood by the elevator as a new message appeared on her phone, footage extracted. Files ready. She tightened her grip, looking up toward the higher floors, where her superior was unknowingly tying his own noose. 2 hours left. The building was about to witness a trial without a judge, where truth would play on every screen, and no one could twist the evidence. 4:00 p.m. The air inside Regency Capitol felt like it was about to storm. Urgent calls, flashing emails, and the hashtag Regency bullying had exploded past 15,000 shares, spreading across finance forums. HR panicked, announcing an emergency meeting for all interns. The intercom echoed all interns report to the conference room on the 43rd floor immediately. Selena lifted her head. She knew this was the final act. When the glass doors opened, 7 interns sat tense and silent. Oliver Grant entered pale, but still clinging to authority. Due to recent incidents, he began, we must address actions that compromised company data. His eyes locked on Selena. Certain individuals accessed restricted areas, leaked information, and damaged our reputation. Unfortunately, disciplinary action must be taken. Chloe froze, gripping her phone. Oliver's voice sharpened. Selena Adeyemi, you are accused of unauthorized computer access copying company data and workplace disruption. Do you have anything to say? The room fell silent. Selena tilted her head slightly, her tone steady. I only want to know what evidence you have against me. Oliver hesitated. CCTV footage, witness statements, and your own words from this morning. Can I see that evidence? Unnecessary, he snapped. I have the authority to suspend you right now. Arjun, a quiet intern, suddenly spoke. Excuse me, but I sit next to her every day. She never went near restricted files. She's the hardest worker here. Oliver's eyes flashed. I didn't ask for your input. But truth is truth, Arjun said, trembling but firm. The others shifted uneasily. A girl added, we all saw the test this morning. She didn't do anything wrong. You lost control. Outside the glass walls, employees gathered watching. No one left. Selena drew a slow breath. Mr. Grant, you're accusing me of violating Section 4.7, correct, he replied stiffly. Then show me the written description, time, action, witnesses, and proof. Without that, your claim is invalid. Oliver flipped through papers, panicking. The report was vague. His voice cracked. "You know what you did." "No," Selena said calmly. "The question is, do you know what you're doing accusing me without proof while everyone watches outside phones lifted to record?" Fear was turning to outrage. Then Selena's phone buzzed. She glanced down. A message from Marcus, boardroom, floor 50 ready. "Legal and security in place. Say the word, I'll activate CCTV." Selena's eyes met Oliver's. "Are you sure you want to continue?" "Of course," he sneered. "Who do you think you are?" She nodded once. "Then let's clarify everything publicly." She typed a single word, "Begin." The large screen lit up instantly. The Aurora Holdings logo appeared, followed by CCTV footage, Oliver spilling coffee that morning, mocking, breeding, and scheming to frame her. Every second was crystal clear. The room erupted. Chloe covered her mouth. One intern whispered, "She had everything." Oliver's face went white. Where did this come from?" Selena's voice was ice. "From the system you thought no one was watching." The door burst open. Marcus entered with 2 suited security officers. "The boardroom is ready," he said evenly. "They request all witnesses." Selena turned to the interns. "Thank you for speaking up. Now the truth will be shown where it belongs." She walked out. The afternoon light struck her face, calm and unshaken. The doors closed behind her, leaving a stunned crowd, and a man realizing the game was no longer his. On the 50th floor, the clock struck 4. The moment had come for the mask to fall, and the truth to take its place. The doors of the 50th floor boardroom opened. The sharp sound of high heels striking the polished wood echoed through the room. The late afternoon light streamed through the massive glass windows, reflecting on the faces of dozens of people waiting inside. Executives, legal advisors, and HR leaders were all present. The air smelled of expensive perfume and tension, thick like static before a storm. Selena entered with steady steps, her dark eyes gleaming with quiet determination. Oliver Grant was already seated at the head of the table, trying to appear composed, though the crease on his collar and the trembling of his hands beneath the table betrayed him. On either side, Sarah Lim and Michael Reeves sat pale and uneasy. The regional HR director, Mr. Howard, began. "This emergency meeting has been called at Mr. Grant's request concerning a security breach allegation against intern Selena Adeyemi." Oliver nodded, forcing confidence. "That's correct. She accessed internal documents, including company emails and project data." Selena said nothing. She looked directly at the chairman, then calmly pulled out a chair and sat down. "Before I respond," she said, her tone even, "I'd like to present some evidence gathered from the company's security system earlier today." Howard frowned. "Security system? Who authorized you?" "Aurora Holdings." Selena replied smoothly. "The parent company of Regency Capital issued an emergency extraction order under the Internal Investigation Clause for workplace discrimination. I am simply executing it." The room went silent. Faces turned toward one another in disbelief. Oliver forced a laugh. "Internal investigation? That's absurd." Selena tilted her head slightly. "Let's see what's absurd." She placed her laptop on the table, fingers gliding across the keyboard. The large screen at the end of the room lit up. CCTV footage appeared, Oliver spilling coffee in the morning, his voice clear. "This isn't the place for diversity quotas." Then came the recording from the midday test, his sneering use of the word breeding. The room froze. One director tapped the table sharply. "Mr. Grant, did you actually say that?" Oliver stammered. It was a joke, nothing more." Selena pressed play again. The next clip showed Oliver, Sarah, and Michael meeting privately, plotting to frame her. Their voices echoed through the room. Say she accessed internal data. Claim a security violation, corporate will believe us. The room erupted in shocked whispers. Sarah went white, her pen slipping from her fingers. Michael slumped into his chair, head lowered. Oliver shot to his feet. This is an invasion of privacy. You had no right. According to Article 112, Section 3 of the Equality Protection Act, Selena interrupted evenly. Evidence collected during discrimination investigations is legally admissible. And as the authorized officer conducting Aurora Holdings' annual covert compliance audit, I have full jurisdiction. Howard turned slowly toward Oliver. You said she was an intern? Oliver swallowed. That's what I was told. Selena stood and reached into her pocket, revealing a silver badge that caught the light. The engraving was unmistakable. Selena Adeyemi, Chief Inclusion and Risk Officer, Aurora Holdings board member. The room fell utterly silent. For the past 8 hours, she said, I've been posing as an intern to observe Regency Capital's workplace culture. What I found goes far beyond minor misconduct. This is systemic discrimination, harassment, and a clear breach of Aurora Holdings' DEI standards. Howard rose to his feet, stunned. You're on the board? Yes, Selena said calmly, her voice carrying weight. And now you understand why I stayed silent all day? Oliver's face turned ghostly pale. No, this can't be. You set me up. Selena's gaze was cool and steady. No one set you up, Oliver. You exposed yourself. I simply recorded it. And I'll present this entire case to the board at 6 p.m., where you'll answer not just for your words, but for the toxic culture you've helped create. The air grew dense, suffocating. Sarah whispered, Oh my God. Michael's hands trembled against the table. Selena closed her laptop and straightened. I suggest you prepare Oliver, because this time you're not facing an intern, you're facing the corporation that owns 67% of this firm. She turned and walked out, each step echoing like a countdown to judgment. Outside, the sunset over Canary Wharf painted the glass towers gold. In the reflection, Selena's figure appeared small yet commanding, a woman once dismissed now walking toward the justice she had built with her own hands. Inside, Oliver sank into his chair, his head in his hands, the world collapsing around him. Someone whispered behind him, For the first time, the bully is tasting his own fear. 4:45 p.m. Just over an hour left before the board convened, and the entire Regency Capital waited not for a meeting, but for a trial of truth. 5:10 p.m. The entire Regency Capital building seemed to hold its breath. Rumors spread faster than emails. The intern is actually a board member of Aurora Holdings. Oliver's finished. All CCTV footage has been pulled. Hallways buzzed, chat groups flared red with gossip. On the 50th floor, the boardroom gleamed dark wood tables, an LED wall, and rows of tense faces. HR Director Howard sat at the center, eyes shifting to Selena now in a crisp white shirt, calm and composed. Oliver entered, last tie, loose collar, wrinkled face pale. Every twitch betrayed panic. Howard tapped the table. This emergency meeting is to review Ms. Selena Adeyemi's report, Chief Risk and Diversity Officer of Aurora Holdings, regarding Mr. Oliver Grant's misconduct and discrimination. Selena opened her laptop, voice clear. Before I begin, this isn't about one person. It's about a system. For 8 hours, I've acted as a mirror reflecting this company's culture. The screen lit up with numbers: minority employee turnover up 24%, 17 unresolved complaints of harassment, and bias replacement costs exceeding £800,000. These aren't just statistics, she said. They're people who once believed merit could defeat prejudice until they were told they didn't fit the culture or client image. That's how bias becomes policy. A director nodded gravely. Selena continued. Risk of investigation by the Equal Employment Office high. Potential Civil Rights Act violation very high. Estimated losses £2 to £4 million, not including market decline. Her tone softened, but every word hit hard. That is the cost of silence. When humiliation goes unchallenged, a company loses more than reputation. It loses its soul. Howard turned to Oliver. Your response? This is blown out of proportion, he said quickly. I followed procedure. Who are you calling she? Selena interrupted softly, her voice like a knife. The intern you humiliated or the board member of your parent company. Oliver froze. His confidence shattered. Selena pressed another key. CCTV footage filled the screen. Oliver spilling coffee mocking diversity quotas, saying breeding, then plotting with Sarah and Michael to frame her. His voice echoed. Blame a security breach, say she accessed files, corporate will believe us. Silence. Sarah's eyes filled with tears, her pen slipping. Michael looked down, ashamed. Selena spoke steadily. This is what happens when power is abused, when someone believes rank grants them permission to dehumanize others. But real power isn't title. It's principle. And principle never bows to prejudice. She switched to the final slide, ROI of diversity. The graph showed growth productivity up 18%, creativity 22, risk costs down 31. This isn't morality, she said. It's economics. Every respected employee adds value. Diversity doesn't weaken a company. It strengthens it. Howard exhaled slowly. Understood. He looked at Oliver. Your accusations have become evidence against you. Oliver shot up. I was under pressure. I didn't mean pressure doesn't make people discriminatory, Selena said sharply. Choices do. The room went still. Outside, the sunset burned red across the skyline. Selena closed her laptop. My presentation is complete. At 6, the board will issue its decision. Before I leave, remember, diversity isn't charity, it's justice, and justice doesn't ask permission. She turned toward the door heels, striking the wood like a clock counting down. Behind her, Oliver stood frozen, realizing fear for the first time. 5:55 p.m. Outside, golden light filled the hallway leading to the boardroom. A new chapter was about to begin, where justice wore a tailored suit and walked straight into the heart of power. 6:00 p.m. The chime announcing the board meeting rang across the 50th floor, its metallic echo slicing through the silence. No one spoke as the board members entered one by one, glass doors closing softly behind them. Outside, London drowned in violet dusk, the lights of the Thames shimmering like silent witnesses. Selena entered last, carrying a thick black file labeled Regency Capital Internal Ethics Review Confidential. She placed it before Robert Hale, the silver-haired chairman, whose calm face hid eyes sharp as blades. This session is now in order, he said. We are here to review the conduct of Mr. Oliver Grant, head of investments, and those involved in discrimination and ethical violations. The white light hit Oliver's face. He tried to smile, but failed, sweat beading along his temples. I never meant to offend anyone, he said hoarsely. This was all a setup meant to destroy me. Selena stayed silent, eyes unreadable. She slid the file toward the chairman. This contains verified video and audio evidence from today, including the 8:30 a.m. incident where Mr. Grant spilled coffee to humiliate an intern and the 3 p.m. meeting where he conspired with managers to frame me. It's been sealed by Aurora Holdings' legal department. Robert nodded. Proceed. Selena stood, her voice steady. Cross-checking with company emails, we found repeated use of discriminatory phrases, diversity quotas, not culturally fitting, and lowering standards. These violate both the Equality Act and workplace conduct policies. Oliver snapped, "You can't access my private emails." "They were sent through company servers owned by Aurora Holdings," she replied coldly, "completely legal." The room grew heavier. Sarah Lim kept her head low, eyes wet. Michael Reeves sat frozen. Selena brought up a new slide, titled "The Economic Cost of Toxic Culture." Under Mr. Grant's leadership, minority turnover rose 28%, productivity dropped 17%, and replacement costs topped £847,000 annually. "This isn't just unethical, it's financial waste." She paused, letting the silence sink in. "And beyond numbers, there's human loss. Employees left because they felt excluded. Let's hear one voice, Keisha Johnson." The screen flickered to a young black woman. "I loved my job," she said tearfully. "But every day felt like a battle. I was asked why I spoke English so well, excluded from client meetings for not fitting the brand image. After 8 months, I quit." Her words lingered. "I don't want anyone else to feel that way." Oliver's face flushed. "I don't remember." "I didn't mean you don't have to mean it to cause harm," Selena interrupted calmly. "It starts when you think you have the right to look down on others." Robert leaned forward. "We've heard enough." His voice was cold. "Per Ms. Adeyemi's findings, I propose 1 termination of Mr. Grant for discrimination, 2 demotion and retraining for Ms. Lim and Mr. Reeve for complicity, 3 creation of a minority support fund to rebuild workplace integrity." Silence, then hands raised. "Agreed. Agreed. Agreed." Oliver collapsed into his chair, voice trembling. "I have a family. 3 kids. I can't lose this." Selena exhaled softly. "Everyone you pushed out had families, too. Bills, dreams. You just never cared." He buried his face in his hands. Robert nodded solemnly. "Effective immediately." "Thank you, Miss Adeyemi. Painful but necessary." Selena bowed her head slightly. "I didn't come to destroy anyone. I came to correct how we see one another." The lights dimmed. Outside, the city glowed amber. Selena looked out, not triumphant, but calm. Justice wasn't revenge, it was balance restored. Gathering her files, she turned to Oliver once more. "Sometimes an ending is only a beginning, if you're brave enough to change." She walked out the door, closing softly behind her. Inside, silence reigned. Outside, her shadow stretched down the golden hallway, marking the line between what was and what will be. 6:45 p.m. Regency Capital, once untouchable, had just learned its most expensive lesson from the woman they once dismissed. 3 months later, Regency Capital was unrecognizable. The halls, once filled with whispers, now buzzed with warm conversation. The scent of coffee paper and trust hung in the air. The room where Oliver once humiliated Selena had become the Diversity and Inclusion Center. With a sign, "Respect builds capital." Selena walked through the lobby, no longer an intern, but the leader of a reborn company. Beside her, HR Director Howard read from his report. After 12 weeks, productivity's up 23%, turnover 0, satisfaction 4.3 out of 5. Over 90% say they feel respected. Selena nodded. "That's a start. The goal is never going backward. Howard smiled. Even bias training 98% completion. Selina looked out at the spring light over London. Sometimes, to change a system, you must make it face its own shame first. In another room, Arjun, once an intern, presented confidently. Diverse teams are 20% more creative. When people are heard, they create value. No one called diversity a burden anymore. On the top floor, Selina tested a new AI system that flagged harmful language with a message, "This wording may cause harm. Please review." "We can't rewrite history," she said, "but we can train the future." In the back, Chloe, who once live-streamed the humiliation, filmed again now as communications lead. A reporter asked, "Do you really think culture can change this fast?" "Yes," Selina said, "because I believe in data. Data doesn't care about race or gender. It only measures results. When you respect people, profit respects you." Applause filled the room. Later alone in her office, Selina looked at the glowing board, Employee Sentiment Index up 20%. She smiled. A message arrived from Marcus CCTV under DEI control. "No more blind spots," she replied. "Good. Transparency is protection." Another message came from Arjun. 80 people signed up for the Human Rights Workshop Double Target. "Proud of you," she wrote back. Crossing the lobby, Selina met Yusuf, the old janitor. "The place feels brighter, doesn't it?" he said. "It does," she replied softly. "You were the first to believe I could endure. Now we see what happens when a company learns to respect itself." Yusuf nodded. "You didn't just change a company. You changed how people see each other." Outside London glowed beneath a blue sky, the Thames lights glittering like gold. High above the Regency Capital logo shone not as a symbol of power, but proof of change. Selina walked away, the light catching her calm face. 3 months ago, she fetched coffee. Now she redefined power not in wealth, but in dignity. That night, the national news headline read, "Regency Capital, from scandal to a model of fairness and diversity." The anchor closed with one line, "When dignity stands beside profit, sometimes profit bows." 1 year later, London's late summer sky shimmered silver over Canary Wharf. The Regency Capital Tower glowed above the Thames, no longer a symbol of cold power, but of change. On its top floor, the company's anniversary ceremony opened under a banner reading, "Aurora Method, the future of corporate accountability." Selina Adeyemi stepped on stage in a navy suit, the Aurora pin on her lapel gleaming. Once the mysterious intern, she was now the face of corporate reform. A year ago, she said Regency Capital was the definition of a toxic workplace, where silence was mistaken for wisdom and bias hid behind jokes. Today, we prove change is possible when we face our flaws. Behind her, the screen displayed progress minority staff up 34% satisfaction, 4. 6 out of 5 profits up 19%. Beneath it read ROI of diversity, return on integrity, the Aurora method. Selina continued is now used by 43 companies in 6 industries. Retention is up 31%, creativity up 20%. When companies invest in people, people return that investment with loyalty and innovation. Chloe, now head of communications, filmed proudly. Arjun smiled in the front row. Marcus O'Rourke, now head of global security, nodded from the back. A reporter asked, "Why does the Aurora method work?" "Because it's built on data," Selina said. "Fairness isn't charity, it's smart business. When people feel respected, profits follow." Howard, now CEO, added, "Under Ms. Adeyemi, Regency went from scandal to global model." We now have live DEI tracking anonymous feedback and the Okoro Fellowship supporting over 150 students. Yusuf Okoro, once the janitor, walked on stage in a simple gray suit. Selena shook his hand warmly. No one sees decay sooner than those who clean it every day. Mr. Okoro reminded us that conscience is a company's quietest employee. The audience rose, applauding. Later on the balcony, Selena looked out over the glowing city, 1 year from humiliation to transformation. Marcus approached with a tablet. The Ministry of Labor wants you on the National Council for Equality. She smiled. This isn't just work. It's a promise to those once silenced. Inside, Chloe helped Yusuf sign the commemorative board. Arjun took photos with scholarship students. A reporter called out, "Do you regret ending Oliver Grant's career?" Selena paused. "I didn't end it. I only removed the mask he wore too long. Truth may hurt, but darkness kills the soul." The quote went viral under # Quiet Power for Change. That night, her speech aired nationwide. "We don't need slogans about equality," she said. "We just need to stop being silent when we see injustice. When we speak, the world listens." Applause thundered. In a riverside cafe, Oliver Grant, hair graying, watched alone, sighed. Then applied for Aurora's Diversity Awareness Program, a small step toward awakening. Later, Selena sat by her office window, the city lights reflecting in her calm eyes. Justice, she thought, isn't a moment, it's a daily choice. The revolution continued, quiet, steady, unstoppable. 2 years later, London's late summer sky glowed silver over the Thames. The Regency Capitol Tower still rose above Canary Wharf, but now it symbolized fairness, not power. Once disgraced, it was now studied at Harvard and Oxford as a model for modern equity. On the 50th floor, Selena Adeyemi sat in her minimalist office plant's oak shelves, and one photo with Yusuf Okoro beneath a sign reading Okoro Fellowship Building Futures. Chloe entered with a stack of reports. "Quarterly data's in," she said. The Aurora methods used by 56 companies across Europe. Productivity's up 18%, satisfaction above 5 out of 5. Selena smiled. "Numbers never lie." Chloe added, "They want to film a documentary, The Woman Who Changed Corporate Culture." Selena shook her head. "I didn't do it alone. I just turned on the light, others kept it shining." Marcus walked in with a tablet. "The Ministry of Labor approved your mentorship program as a national pilot. They want you as an advisor." Selena smiled. "Seems this road isn't ending yet." Howard, now CEO, appeared at the door. "Press conference is ready. But first, thank you. You didn't just save Regency Capital, you restored our belief in what's right." "I didn't save anyone," Selena replied. "I just helped people see each other again." The press event was brief. When asked about her success, she said, "There's no movement, just patience, data, and faith that justice doesn't need noise, only persistence." That evening, as the sun set over the river, Selena crossed the square outside the tower. The air smelled of lavender. A group of students wearing Okoro Fellows 2027 badges passed by. "What are you studying?" she asked. "Finance and data ethics," one girl said. "Your scholarship made it possible." Selena smiled. "Don't thank me. Just pass it on someday." That night in her riverside apartment, city lights shimmered across the water. She opened her laptop to hundreds of messages, thanks, invitations, stories from around the world. One said her video inspired them to speak out. Another said their company launched a DEI fund. A young woman wrote, "You made me believe silence is never an option." Then one email made her pause. The sender, Oliver Grant. Subject, I've learned. Selena. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but thank you for not using your power to destroy me. Through Aurora's training, I've learned humility and respect. I've joined a non-profit helping rebuild company culture. I hope we can work together someday as better people. Selena reread the last line, her heart light. When someone changes themselves, that's the real miracle. She looked out the window, the city glowing under the night sky. She sipped her tea, opened her notebook, and wrote, "Justice isn't a destination, but a road without an end. True change begins when one quiet voice finally says, 'Enough.'" Closing the notebook, she smiled softly. Light from the window framed her face, a woman once dismissed, now sitting in the light she built herself. The story that began in humiliation had ended with respect. If you've ever faced a toxic workplace or been silenced by prejudice, share your story. One voice can change a system. Comment where you're watching from, like, if you believe respect builds capital, and subscribe for more real-life stories of courage and dignity. Because sometimes even the quietest voice can make the world listen.